Greetings, friends and fellow rebels, and welcome to the woods. I promised you last time that we would talk a little bit about disassociation, and here we are. Disassociation is when your consciousness shifts from the space and time you are in now to the astral, or the etheric, or beyond, or simply a different time space from this same density as to where you are in this moment. Now, people can deliberately choose to do this, or it can happen instinctively when someone is experiencing trauma. Now, you can choose to deliberately disassociate anytime for any reason if you develop that ability. Psychologists, psychiatrists consider it a mental illness issue, problem. As much as I love some psychologists and psychiatrists as individuals, as a discipline, they're lost. So let's just set that aside. We are using their terms, but not in the way they would use it. So taking your consciousness out of the here and now and putting it elsewhere, which is something that remote viewers do, it's something that shamans do, it's something that people who have spiritual disciplines that seek to have control over their body, they can put their awareness deeper into their body to control various aspects of maybe their breathing, maybe their heartbeat, maybe their metabolic rate, or they can take their consciousness out elsewhere to observe different things in space and time, or simply not to be here. And instinctively, quite a number of people who are faced with something unspeakably harsh and horrible can choose to dislocate their awareness from here and put it elsewhere. Sometimes that's very necessary to save them from damage to their astral, etheric, their psychic being, and thus eventually their physical being. But there's dangers in using that technique. And one of the dangers of that is, while your awareness is out, if you haven't warded your body, or if somebody hasn't energetically taken energy and created a barrier around you, you're vulnerable. Just as if you have a sleeping child or a sleeping friend, loved one, and there's cockroaches, you're not going to expose them to the bugs crawling all over them. You're going to put something around them to keep the bugs away, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Only the something that you put around your energy bodies is energy. Just as you would barricade your physical body from a parasitic incursion, like a tick or a flea or a mosquito, you're going to barricade your energy bodies with energy, with the substance of what they are made out of, to protect you from anything that could be interfering or invading from that density. Now, you can do that yourself by simply concentrating your intent and your will, especially if you've been practicing your will and it's strong, to will putting up a energy barrier, and to focus the energy and to feel the energy going out from you to create that barrier. You can do it with other people. they can do it with you. If you're going to disassociate, if you're going to remove your awareness and your consciousness from this level, most people who do this learn beforehand to put up that, what we call a warding or a shield, an energy shield or a warding. We put that up beforehand so that when we're absent, nothing can take this over. Otherwise, it's like parking your car and leaving it running with the keys in the car and the windows open and the car is unlocked. You wouldn't do that, would you? So you don't want to leave yourself wide open for invasion. But if you don't know any of this stuff, if you're a kid, if you're in trouble, say you're sick, if you're damaged, and sickness usually starts with energy issues, energy problems. There's a hole in your etheric body. There's a hole in your astral body. It filters down and it creates damage in the physical body because whatever's created in the higher density eventually filters down unless you stop it or somebody stops it. So, say you get sick. Say you've got a fever. Say you don't have people around you who know how to ward you and you're not in a residence that naturally creates that kind of warding, which is why we used to have people sick, you take them to a convent, a church. It was our spiritual institutions that took care of the sick. Because quite frankly, that's the safest place for them. When you're sick, you're vulnerable to psychic incursions. And that will affect your physical health. So, let's say you're a child being tortured or you're sick. You can't hold a focus here. You're off kilter. You disassociate. You don't want to be here. Your mind goes elsewhere. Your consciousness goes elsewhere. When that happens, there's an opportunity for something else to come in. It can be a little parasite attaching to you, or it could be something more serious that tries to claim you, or maybe claims a part of you, or maybe creates a connection to you, which later you're going to have to resent. And you can do that. But it takes knowledge, knowing that that's the problem. Sometimes it takes a little bit of help from somebody who knows what they're doing. But most of all, you need to want to reclaim yourself, who you really are, in absence of an outside connection. Contact source, sender and self, and push out the invader, whether that's parasite or something more serious. So that's one more way that we can get these little annoyances. Disassociation. It can be a useful tool, or it can be a very dangerous accident. Depends on how it's done. Something to think about. Welcome to the woods.